In this video, you will learn about decision tree algorithm for a classification problem. Decision trees are non-parametric supervised learning method used for both classification and regression. In decision tree, the goal is to create a model that predicts the value of a target variable by learning simple decision rules from the features. In this video, we will work on a heart disease dataset where the goal is to classify whether a person has a heart disease or not based on some independent variables. Let's import pandas as PD, import numpy as NP, import seaborn as SNS, import matplotlib dot pyplot as PLT. Let's execute our code. We will use seaborn and matplotlib to plot our data set. So this is used for data visualization in Python. I'll make one variable df. From pandas, I will call the method read underscore CSV. Inside this, I will pass my CSV file name heart disease dot CSV. Let's execute our code. Let's check the shape of our data frame. I will write df.shape. In the output, you can see we have 303 rows and 14 columns. We can also look at the head of our data frame. So we will use df.head. And here you can see these are the top 5 rows of our data frame, and we have columns such as age, gender, CP, and so on. And target is a target variable. So we have to classify whether a person has a heart disease or not. So there will be two levels here, 1 and 0. We can also look at the bottom 5 rows of our data frame. I will write df.tail. And here you can see these are the bottom 5 rows of our data frame. We can also look at the information using the method info, df.info. In the output, you can see we got information about the data frames. We have information such as the column names, the non-null count, and the data type for each and every column. We can also look at the descriptive statistics for all the numerical columns. For that, we will call the method describe, df.describe. And here in the output, you will see we got the descriptive statistics such as the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, and the maximum for all the continuous column. We can also check for the null values. And to check for null values, we will use the method isNull. I'll write df.isNull. Let's execute our code. And here you will see we got the output as Boolean, true and false. But if we want to look at the actual numbers, we can do one more thing. df.isNull.sum. And here you will get the missing values column wise. So you will see here we don't have any missing values in any columns here. We have all the zeros against each and every column. And we can also get the total missing values. So I'll copy this code from here and I'll paste it here. And to get the overall missing values, we just have to put one more method, that is sum again. So I'll write dot sum. And we got 0 here because there are no missing values present in our data frame. Let's look at the levels of target variables. So this is our target variable here. And let's look at the values that are present in our target variable. I'll call our data frame df and then I'll pass the target. And we will use the method value underscore counts. In the output, you can see we have 1 and 0, and 1 indicates the person doesn't have the heart disease, and 0 is the person has heart disease. And we want to classify whether a person has a heart disease or not based on the independent variables. Let's plot our target variable. So I will call the seaborn library. From SNS, I will call count plot. And inside this, we will pass our target variable df of target. And we will use matplotlib to define the x-axis and y-axis. So I will write plt.x label. So on our x-axis, we will write target variable. then plt dot ylabel. On ylabel we will type the frequency of target, and we will also give the title to our plot. So I will write plt dot title. The title will be target variable. Then the last command will be plt dot show. Let's execute our code, and here you will see, so we have the bar plot of our target variable, or the count plot. You can see on x-axis we have the target variable 0 and 1. So we have the most number of samples for the class 1, and these are the frequency. And next we will split the data set into train and test. First we will split the data set into x and y, then only we can split it into train and test. So let's first split the data frame df into x and y. I'll type x here, and from df then I will call the method ILOC. Inside this I'll pass colon. Colon means I want all the rows. Then colon -1. This means I want all the column except the last column, because the last column is the target variable. You will see here. So our last column is target variable, and we do not want to include this in our data frame X. So here I am saying I want all rows and all columns except the last column. Then I'll make Y variable. Then I will call df and ILOC. I want all rows. This time I just want the last column, so I will write -1 only. Let's execute our code. Let's look at the shape of x and y. I will write x dot shape. So in x we have 303 rows and 13 columns. Let's also check for y dot shape. So in y we have only one column, that is the target variable. That is why we are seeing here rows only, 303 rows. Now we are going to split the dataset into train and test. For that we have to import the train test function from sklearn. So I will write from sklearn dot model selection import train test split, and now I will make xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest, and then I will call the method train test split. Inside this I will pass our x and y data frame, and I'll pass one parameter random state. Random state, you can put any value here. Let's say I'll put 100. If you want your result to be same as mine, then you also have to put 100. Otherwise you can put any number here. That is why this parameter is known as random state. Let's execute our code. So we have split our x and y into xtrain, xtest, ytrain, and ytest. We can also look at the shape of all these variables. Let's look at xtrain dot shape. So in xtrain we have 227 rows and 13 columns. Let's also look at ytrain dot shape. In ytrain we have 227 rows, so we have only this target column in ytrain. Now we will initialize the decision tree classifier from sklearn dot tree import decision tree classifier. Let's execute our code. I'll make an object of the decision tree classifier. So I'll write CLF. This is going to be the object of decision tree classifier. Now I will call the class decision tree classifier. Inside this I will pass some parameter. The first parameter is criteria. This is going to be Gini. I'll explain you everything once I define the hyperparameters. The next hyperparameter is maximum underscore depth, and this is going to be 7. The next parameter is minimum sample split, and this will be 9. The last one is random underscore state, and here you can put any number here, because since this is a random state, so let's say I'll put 10 here. Now I'll explain these parameters. So criterion means this function measures the quality of the split. The value of Gini impurity lies between 0 and 1, and values closer to 0 are good, as it has maximum impurity, while closer to 1 are less pure. So here we are using the Gini index. Then the next parameter is maximum depth. So it is the maximum depth of the trees, and we want it to be 7. Then the next parameter is minimum sample split, and it is the minimum number of samples required to split an internal node or branch of the tree. So whenever we want to split the branch, so we will take at least 9 sample to split that branch. And hit this random state, you can put any number here. Let's execute our code. So we have defined this object CLF. Now we are going to fit the decision tree. I will call the object CLF and then I will call fit. We are going to fit it on X train and Y train. Let's execute our code. So we have fit the decision tree on this X train and Y train, and these are the hyperparameters that we have defined above. Let's look at important variables or the features. So we can look at the what features are important among all the independent variables. So I will write CLF dot feature underscore importance. So this function from this object CLF feature importance, this will give us the important features. Let's execute our code, and here you will see the percentage. So the first feature, or I'll just write df dot head here. So it says that the first feature age is 11% important. The second one is not so important. The third one is 15% important. Then fourth one is 0.03% important, and fourth one is 0.07% important, and so on. So these are telling us the importance of each and every feature. Next, we will make prediction and save it in a new variable. I'll make one new variable y underscore pred. And to make prediction, I will call the object CLF, then predict. And we want to make prediction on X test. So I will pass X test here. Let's execute our code. Let's print y pred. And here you will see these are the predicted class for the this X test, and we are going to compare the actual with the predicted one, and we will look at the confusion matrix to check the accuracy. So from sklearn dot metrics, we will import confusion matrix, and then we will make this confusion matrix here. So I will call this function confusion matrix, and inside this I will pass y test and y pred. Let's execute our code. So we got the confusion matrix for our y test and y pred, and all the values in the diagonals, that is 31 and 30, are the correctly classified, and the off diagonal, that is 9 and 6, are the wrongly classified samples for our X test. Now we can also print the overall accuracy of the model. For that, we will call from sklearn dot metrics import accuracy score. Now I will call this class accuracy score, and I want to calculate the accuracy of based on the actual and predicted value. So I will write y test and then y pred. Let's execute our code. So the overall accuracy for our classifier is 80%. So 80% of the time it will classify whether a person has a heart disease or not correctly. And we can also we can also do the cross validation. So let's perform the cross validation from sklearn dot model selection import cross val score, and this will be used for cross validation. Let's call our function class crossval score, and we will do it on this model CLF. So I will call the model object CLF that we have defined above, this CLF. So I'll pass that model object CLF, then our X train and Y train. And then the next parameter is cross validation. We want to do it 10 times, that is 10 fold cross validation. So I will write here 10. Let's execute our code. So it has done the 10 times cross validation, and here you will see we got the different accuracy at each iteration. For first iteration the accuracy was 73%, next 78, next 91, and so on. We can also print the classification report, and for that first we will import from sklearn.metrics import classification report. Let's print the classification report, print classification report, and then we will pass ypred and ytest. And here in the output you will get some metrics here such as precision, recall, F1 score, support. So for 0 the precision is 0.78, 78%, recall 84%. For 1 the precision is 0.83, recall 0.77. The F1 score is 81 for 0 and 80 for the 1. The overall accuracy is 0.80. And these are the metrics you can use to evaluate the performance of your classification model. So in this video, we have seen how we can create a decision tree classifier in Python. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like my video, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.